into Elephant in the Room, part of Roll Tide Pods, Disrupt the Media, and it is great to have Ryan Anderson and Jake Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie as we talk Alabama, Texas A&M, and whatever else comes up. But, fellas, good to see you guys.
Glad to be here, man.
Well, let's get into it right off the bat. A huge test for Alabama. You guys have been to College Station. I'll start with you, Jake, and then you, Ryan. But your experience playing down in Texas at College Station, Kyle Field down there.
Oh yeah, no, it's the loudest place I ever played. I know LSU's loud, but I've never been to a place where when they are at max volume, you can't hear. I've never been to a place where you cannot hear anything going on. I mean, your ears are like maxed out. Eardrums are just blown out. You can't hear a word. Somebody right here can't hear them. And it's just the wildest. To me, the fans are the nicest you could ever imagine, which is really weird because everywhere else you go in the SEC, you're getting fingers and kiss my ass and a lot more. But
they're doing this at you, or calling you Tiger Bait, or
yeah, that's right.
Barking at you.
Yeah,
come on, man. I've been to all those places.
Oh yeah, no, it's that place is, and I was there 2 years ago when we got beat, and it was the same type volume. It was just, I mean, it's the craziest atmosphere you go to.
It's loud. It's definitely loud.
What do you think, LSU or A&M?
I'm gonna say LSU, but I ain't played at LSU in the daytime either. We played there like daytime, and it was still
2014,
loud.
I remember it was loud.
Yeah, it was loud.
That's the game when we played in 2014. They're saying the F coach Sabin. That's when Dixieland Delight got banned from Tuscaloosa.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And we bowed down to the mob.
Yeah, I wasn't for that.
Yeah, I wasn't either. That was, to me, I don't know if you thought it was as cool as I did, but man, when that fourth quarter rolled around and you were beating the shit out of somebody, and Dixieland Delight came on and the starters were out and the twos were in and you were free, I mean, it was just icing on the cake to a win. Send you into Sunday for stretch and stride. Man, it was the best experience ever on Saturday.
No doubt, man.
How about Tennessee trying to take that last year? Do you remember they played that after they beat us?
No.
And does it surprise you?
No.
I turned the TV off. I was so damn hurt. I couldn't hear what they played.
When that interception got called back, I was like, this is garbage.
I'll be honest, man. It changed my perspective on gambling that game.
You think the refs had a little play in it?
I don't know. That interception, it was a lot of weird plays in it. We lost LSU. It was different.
There were multiple flags.
It was a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
They'd call a flag after the play was over on them. They gave them another play. The hit on Bryce, which is a penalty. We get a book on that. Oh, you can't do this, and this, but you could in that game. And then that interception would have covered the spread. And then all of a sudden, Kool-Aid's 30 yards down the field, and they're throwing a flag. That just changed my perspective on.
So you're saying that referee would have been buried in a Nevada desert in Tennessee, not covered?
You know what, man? I'm just saying that I don't know. To this day, I just don't know. Like I don't have any proof, but I just have watched thousands of games. I mean, think about how many games we've watched, and I've been watching football games for a long time. I don't know if I've ever felt like that after a football game.
You just felt like you were robbed.
I felt, yeah. And I was talking to one of my buddies who was worked for the Mets at the time, and he was telling me that they were all coming back, and people had wagered on it, and everybody on that plane felt the same way I did. And they had no dog in the fight. It wasn't like me sitting here as an Alabama guy. I'm pretty objective, even though I do love Alabama. But I mean, like if we lose, that's the first time I've ever felt like that.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever seen that documentary on is it Tim Donaghy?
I remember living that. And I'll tell you what, there was a game that Kobe played against him, with him refereeing against Sacramento. And game 6 of that was the worst referee game I ever saw.
Wow.
Well, I could see him getting away with it in regular season games, baseball, basketball, where there's a ton of games and nobody really pays attention, but college football is pretty tough because every game means so much, But I'd say after what I've never heard of anybody in college football gambling or playing a part in that. And, if you did, why would you ever come out with that? But now that you say that, that Tennessee game was a little bit.
It's just weird, man.
Skeptical.
Yeah, it was shaky. I'm with you on that, Mick. I came out and said that. I'm saying people, I've been called crazy about it. I definitely think the fix is on.
Well, yeah. And look, I was called crazy. And then the baseball coach vindicated me.
What, did he know Pete Rose or something?
He got kicked out of Alabama for gambling.
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm saying is, what I was saying wasn't that I know anything or I don't know anything. I'm just saying something just didn't feel right.
It's going on
with that particular game. And then you see the baseball coach.
Forgot about that.
The baseball coach goes out and he's fired for being involved in something. And then the whole team at Iowa State, and there's a lot of money out there. And I just think like when Dennis, I think it was Dennis Dodd did a story, and he was like, the FBI, there's a certain amount of games that they flag each week.
Yeah.
And that game to me just felt like I would have flagged it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
No doubt. I
didn't feel like that any of the Iron Bowls. I didn't feel like that.
That's not all you're saying, but
yeah. Well, maybe not. But I'm just, you know what? I mean, we haven't even started talking about aliens yet. But all right, so Saturday I didn't feel like that when we lost to Texas A&M down there 2 years ago. Or the loss to LSU, or any of the losses I've ever been a part of. But that particular game just kind of made me just shake my head.
Well, it's just crazy flags, I mean, some of these games, again, last time you were here, we talked about quarterbacks. The quarterback play, usually when Alabama loses, is based on the opponent's quarterback play.
Right.
I mean, Stephen Garcia, the backup at A&M when they beat us 2 years ago, Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's usually the common factor in us losing. Tennessee quarterback last year was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was.
But again, to me, that was one of those gray area wins where
so weird.
Yeah.
This Saturday, though, it's going to be one of those games for Alabama where if it almost feels like it's Nick Saban against Jimbo. Like, it doesn't even feel like it's Alabama against Texas A&M. It really feels like this is Nick Saban against Jimbo.
Jimbo made it that way. No offense to your person.
I told you that story at lunch.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. But Jimbo made it that way, though. So, that's just what he got to deal with.
Yeah.
I told Ryan a story at lunch about one of my first practices at Florida State. And this is like day 2, and everybody that I played with at Florida State gives me shit about this story, to this day. And I fumble a snap, and I pick the ball back up, and I'm like Ricky Bobby, he's yelling at me, cussing me, and I'm holding this ball up, and I have no idea what to do with it. I'm just like, I'm looking at him, and I'm shocked at the amount of cuss words at volume he's putting out there. And I'm just like, what in the hell is, in my head. And he's cussing me, telling me to go back to Mobile. Just everything he's got. And I'm holding this ball like this. And he looks at me like, like I'm a dumbass, just, what are you doing? Say something, do something. And he slaps that ball out of my hand and kicks it across the field. He tells me, he goes, now go pick up that ball and get your effing ass off this field. You might as well take your ass back to Mobile.
Fresh out.
This is like day 3. I don't know shit about anything. I don't even know where anybody's running. I'm just throwing the ball at somebody that looks like they're open.
Is that football? Is that what you guys deal with all the time? We just watch you on Saturday, normally with beer.
I feel like, especially young players, like a lot of the coaches, they make that a point. Like when you got guys coming out of high school and fresh into that environment, just like a welcome to college football moment. I feel like a lot of coaches go out of their way to have with certain players. You feel me? Especially like a quarterback, you want to see how hard you can coach this dude. You want to see So I definitely get it. But when it ain't you, it's some funny shit, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Jimbo used to tell me, he's like, this took me a few years, but he'd cuss me so much. I mean, in front of everybody, just tear my ass down. And I would get so angry that I didn't care. It's like that story I told you about the Ole Miss game. I didn't care. I threw where I thought the ball needed to go. And if the coach said something, I was giving him both fingers. I didn't care, whatever. He goes, he'd be like, "Oh, you play better when you're mad," and so he just cussed me till I got pissed off, and I didn't care about what he said anymore. And so he lived up to that standard every day. All right, let's piss Jake off so he practices better.
Getting the best out of you.
So he cussed my ass every day till I got pissed. And I was like, man, this has got to stop.
You got to have thick skin, though.
Got to, especially playing that quarterback position.
Oh, man, I tell you what. Well, I'll tell you this, though. It gets you conditioned to where that stuff doesn't bother you, and you just got to realize, I mean, like what I'm doing now. I mean, people get upset, they get emotional, say things, and you just got to realize, I mean, you got to take, like Terry and Arnold said this week.
Yeah.
Listen to what they're saying, not how they're saying it, and
right.
And understand, I mean, this can be resolved. You just got to, approach it in a calm manner.
Yeah,
take care of it.
I thought Terry and Arnold was awesome. I loved his press conference. I just liked everything about it. He just could come in here and do the show. Well, he could come in here and do the show with us. Definitely. I mean, like he was funny. He was comfortable. He was like, I thought it was somebody else. And then it was like, oh, it's me. He wore that the way that you want guys on your team to wear, getting the angry Sabin. He appreciated angry Sabin. We've been saying that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd see Coach Sabin ripping a headset apart, and I'd be headed back to the sideline and be like, man, please let it be Lane. Please let it
Ryan, did you ever catch angry Sabin, or did he ever catch you?
Oh yeah, Mick. I was in the doghouse for 3 years. I saw too much of him.
He saw a lot of angry Sabin.
Oh my God. It got to a point where I was like that too. I remember I was coming in one day, like the day before, I was like late out to practice. I was one of the last one. And like he just lit off into me. Like made me run, like just made an example out of me. It's my freshman year. So the next day I'm running in, I'm like threading the needle again, but it's all Americans behind me. Like D Milton, Damian, all captains, like 4 or 5 of them behind me. So I make it in, and he losing it when I get on like the turf. And he look over there and see who was walking in. He never said nothing to D. So when he seen it was D, he kind of just like calmed down, and I looked at him and started laughing. So when I'm jogging down the walkthrough, I feel something. Somebody, he jogging behind me, and I look, he lose it. I'm funny to you. Like he just lose it. So the whole walkthrough, he just going in. I just want to know what's so funny to you. I'm funny. I'm a joke. So I start laughing. He chased me the whole family. Like, you know what? Go get in the box. So the box on the side. Like stupid. I'm like, you crazy. He chased me down like we'll do like the defense, like the front and the back and flip. Like, I'm like, I just felt him. Why didn't you? Like, oh shit.
You're just breathing down your neck.
Yeah. When did you win Sabin over?
I don't know.
Somewhere along the line. Somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I think somewhere it was.
Coach Sabin was like, damn, we got to play this guy.
We found like a little mutual understanding.
I'll be honest, man. We talked about it on Monday's show. I missed Angry Sabin. I said they picked him up in Gordo on the way to Mississippi State, and I missed him. He was hitchhiking out there.
Yeah,
he's been too nice lately.
I enjoyed it, and I feel like it's a point for him too. Like with all this NIL stuff and like the transfer portal, like where he had to like switch his style. He's trying to figure out, like, he probably can't do, what Jimbo and them was doing back then to guys like they did to coach. They'll hightail it.
Yeah.
So I feel like now he just getting that position where he's like, I'm comfortable with it, and like, you're gonna be here, you're gonna be. If you're not, you're not. You know, so I feel like that's been like the biggest thing. Like
well,
for him.
He's at a point in his career. I mean, Coach Saban's the best of all time. You know, I mean, kids. This. I tell you what drove me crazy. The most crazy out of all this is kids taking $5,000 for a visit. I don't know how
I heard about
is,
that.
but I mean, if that's the case, I mean, shit, I was so excited just to get a letter from Alabama.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Right. Getting $5,000 too.
$5,000 just for a visit.
I used to like the burger and the moles they had over there. You know, I'm getting some of that barbecue. 5,000. Shit, I probably be at school. I probably went on committed. I'm going up here for the dreamland already.
It's a different world right now.
It is.
It is a different world, and you know, how do you? I'm wondering, like, you go from high school to a guy like Nick Saban, and he developed both of you guys into not just great football players, but also great professionals, right? You need, like Mike Johnson tells me about, I wouldn't have half the success I had if it wasn't for Nick Saban, right? How many of those guys now are you going to go get from another college, transfer in, and it's more of like a professional thing? Like, hey, just go out there and do this. Like, instead of getting the real coaching that's not just about football, but about life, that you start out as a, you know, I mean, for you went to Texas A&M and came in, but then, you know, you start there from the beginning. Now it'd be like everybody's just coming from somewhere else. Like all the other schools, like the smaller schools, are just like kind of like feeder schools.
Yeah, and that's what I said earlier. I feel like he got that's the transition he making. Like versus, you know, I got a guy that I'm gonna have here 4 years, you know, 5 years, where it's like it's not many people transferring, you know. To now it's like I gotta implement all of this into these guys and let them know how we do it, and they got to pick up on our process in 8 months versus, you know, a year or the 2 year span or whatever you usually get to have a guy that's a junior that's ready, you know, mentally ready. That's how he usually have people, you know what I mean? So that's part of the adjustment I was saying like he had to make.
Yeah.
So.
But you played for one of the best too in Jimbo. I mean, look, we're talking to Texas A&M and Alabama. We might make fun of Jimbo because he's Texas A&M's coach, but really he's one of the great coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, all these coaches know each other. So, I mean, when a guy looks at transferring, especially at a young age and hadn't played yet, I mean, to me, that's a red flag already.
Right.
I mean, a guy that's not willing to come in and try to compete and see it through. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing if you've been there for 3 years, you're not playing, and you don't have much of a future at that school. I mean, that's one thing. But a guy who comes in, has been there a year, and just up and tries to leave, man, I don't know if that's the kind of guy you want, because you know, he's not in it for the long run. He's in there for himself for the most part. So again, do you want that guy on your team? Not at Alabama,
right? Or
at least not the Alabama that Coach Saban wants,
right? Yeah, which has been a great Alabama. Do you think that that Nick Saban's going to be out of the game soon? Do you get that vibe at all? No. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. Like, listen to the next round guys. You know, LT was talking about, he thought that maybe this is Nick Saban's last year.
No.
You know, I'm trying to jog and mind my business, and I hear that, and I'm like, what is he talking about, LT? But you know what? I mean, he just said it was just like he just kind of felt like maybe because of the NIL and all the other stuff, maybe this is it.
I know he can't stand the NIL, and I don't think any coach really likes the NIL unless you just have endless funds. I mean, I know I actually asked him that about a year ago, and I mean, his comment was, as long as I'm not bringing the university down, as long as I'm not, you know, deteriorating this program, I'm sticking around.
Oh, I hope so.
And so, I mean, there's obviously that has not been evident in how Alabama's played in the last few years. We've been still at the top of the game. We haven't won, you know, year after year, but the game's changed. It's harder to win national championships. But I mean, we're still Alabama. Still got Coach Sabin. As long as he's there, we're all right. You know, I mean,
yeah, I agree.
But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I hope not.
I say that within the next 2-3 years.
Right.
I mean, he is getting old, you know.
Well, we all are. I mean, really. But, you know, just hope that he just seems like seeing angry Saban back on the sideline seems like, well, maybe he's back for, maybe he's got another 3 or 4
That's
years.
what kind of guy he is. Like, I feel like I don't see him riding off into the sunset right now, like on some just everything he's standing for, what he preached. I don't see him leaving right now because of NIL. It's another challenge for him, and like that's just the way he wired. So I know right now he probably like more into it than he's been in the past 5-6 years.
What the hell is he going to do if he quits coaching?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he's the SEC commissioner or something like that, I mean, he's not going to be satisfied with being the game day host, the Pat McAfee.
They don't compete.
He's on Pat McAfee. I saw him on there today.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's not going to be satisfied with just a game replacing Lee Corso and then doing Pat McAfee spots. That's not Coach Saban.
He got to be competing.
He's a showman on accident, but he's a competitor. That's what he is.
Yeah,
by nature. So that's why I say he gonna go on another run. I say he got another 3 in him, 3 titles in him.
That'd be great.
I'm for real.
Yeah, that would be great. Hey, I'll take that.
A 3-piece in him.
Let me remind you guys that the show's brought to you by MyBookie. Use the code next round and be part of what's going on right now. MyBookie.ag, and look, you go out there and make your picks. I was 1-2 last week, Jake. So I mean, I'm still 3-11, but I'm starting to pick up some steam now. And if I go to MyBookie, I still need LT to help me out with Lance's locks.
I was about to say, you're doing a lot of stuttering over there.
Yeah.
I also heard Manscaped.
Yeah,
that's a new sponsor. See Ryan over there, beard's looking a little shaggy.
Yeah.
They said it's obviously they were sending us some Manscaped. I can't wait to see what that is.
I think y'all got y'all.
Hook our boy up.
Yeah. We'll take care of you first, Ryan. All right, let's talk Texas A&M and Alabama. This has kind of become a battle where it feels like it's their defensive line against our offense. Is that kind of how you guys see it?
Yeah.
Man, I watched the first half of that Arkansas A&M game last week, and A&M mixes up a lot when they come, and they're coming. And I feel like they're going to play KJ Jefferson the same way they're going to play Jalen Milroe and mix it up, kind of confuse him as much as possible. And when they come, man, they're not going to give him much time. So he's got to know where he's going with the ball, understand his answers, get it out to whoever's hot when he needs to, when we can't block him, and use his legs, because if they come and they don't get him, man, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Is that what you see too?
Same way. I feel like every game for me is that way. It's about the front. Our front seven versus they O-line. But in this game in particular, because like Jake said, they dialed it up a little bit over there. They're a well-coached group, and they're going to come out on fire. Everybody want to beat Bama. So they're going to come out with a whole nother different energy than they had last week. So we want the
Super Bowl.
Yes. And then we got my guy over there, Nye Smith, Mo Smith, little brother. He got that bad look.
Let's hear about his
Tell us about this.
We were talking about this earlier.
He said we're slipping.
I love him. I love him. Nye is like a little brother. We're going to beat that 0 off his ass. I love.
He seemed like a good guy.
He's an awesome kid.
He was like, I'm not going to say it, but and then I'm like, okay.
Awesome kid. His whole family.
That's what I was saying. Mo, man, I love Mo. I was like, come on, Nye.
I know he got a little extra fire this week for him, so we're gonna beat that 0 off each other. Come on back home. We love him though.
Yeah.
We'll beat that ass.
I wouldn't want to have to match up with Alabama's secondary. They won't even throw Kool-Aid's way. I mean, he's not even out there because he's kind of like Deion. I mean, like when Deion played, nobody ever threw that direction. Is Kool-Aid that good?
I don't know if he Deion good, but he definitely a lockdown corner. He say he racing the side of the field, so he elite.
Yeah.
I definitely think he's elite.
Yeah, throwing out Deion comparisons is a little bit that's a high ceiling.
Well, that's not best one ever, right?
But yeah. But no, as far as Alabama elites, he's in that group.
He up there.
And
I like 3 too.
Yeah, I like 3.
3 ain't no bologna sandwich now. 3 can play some ball.
And it's making him better because they just think they can attack him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not working too well.
He can play.
No, and those safeties are pretty aggressive. They've been making plays too. Made it really tough on Will Rogers. So again, I'm very complimentary of Will Rogers. I think he's again one of the best in the SEC. Man, to make him look the way he did last week, that secondary strong.
How about my boy, Braswell?
Yeah, Chris Braswell.
Yeah.
We text you right away. We saw Braswell, and he picked it up. This defense has a lot of unsung heroes like Chris Braswell.
telling you.
Really good players.
Like I said, I feel like this is a team that you don't want to see late in the year. Like, they're going to keep getting better. They're going to keep gritting out wins. Like, it's not one of those Bama teams where everybody telling them you this, you that, coming off a win. Like, they feeling it right now. You know what I mean? So I'm liking the way they're responding. So, like I said, I definitely think this team going to have a bunch of guys along the way that's going to keep getting better and popping out.
Yeah.
But he my guy right now. 41. That's my guy.
That was a great interception return for a touchdown. I feel like if the offense just plays smart, this defense is going to make plays.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's going to be some big plays. Texas A&M is going to make plays. I mean, Max Johnson, like I said, he's very experienced. He knows where to go with the ball. Very comfortable in this offense, obviously, from what he showed against Auburn, Arkansas. Just got to minimize those, make the windows as small as possible. And when we pressure him, we got to get after him and make sure we get him down before he gets the ball off.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And the special teams have been great too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think about it. You got a field goal kicker that could go in the NFL and kick like that and make a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And then the punting's been great too. And field position, when you have a team that relies on defense, is a big part of it.
I agree.
I said all that. You said, yeah, it's a good idea. I was like, all right.
I'm honestly thinking that my beer's low. I was just thinking, I was like, not really ignoring you. I was just thinking, like, I gotta get you talking.
I gotta get
He just had to get a break. Let's throw some shit out there.
Thinking,
maybe they'll talk a little bit.
I was just gonna roll the ball out and like let you guys do your thing and just slide back to the kegerator real quick. But I agree. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, like I feel like most good teams, like we always say, you want to play that perfect game. It's like having all three phases played. So I feel like we're really that close. We're playing like solid on defense. We're playing solid special teams and like the offense coming along. So I do feel like we're going to be all right down the road. Like this could be a scary team to play down the stretch.
Well, we look 10 times better than we did week 1, week 2, week 3.
Exactly.
I mean, it ain't even close.
Exactly.
But when we got to bow up and make plays and really be physical, I mean, last week, controlled the line of scrimmage for the most part, offensively. Defensively, saw a few gash run plays that you wouldn't see in 2016.
Right.
But we're getting there. And putting more pressure on the quarterback, but also playing a lot of man coverage, really putting our DBs in a spot where they can't screw up. So when you do that, leave some opportunities open for the offense and for some big plays. And again, pressure on the quarterback, getting to Max Johnson, that's going to be the most important key of the game.
Yeah. And I think too, don't fall behind. Don't fall behind early and then put yourself in a spot where you're trying to catch up. If you can keep it close early, the defense their defense is good too, but I think Alabama's defense is going to eventually be better.
No doubt. I said, hopefully we can start too, like we say, with quarterbacks like this and playing a lot of that man, we can start getting home before. Seeing those guys start meshing well, as you see, like Braswell mature more. Dallas Turner start to turn it on. Those inside guys. So
here's what I want at the end of maybe next week or the week after. If you locked the 2016 our team, 2015 team in a phone booth with this year's team, I know we'd walk out and they'd be beaten, battered, all jacked up. I want to have that. I want to have that feeling next week or the week after that. Be like, ooh, man, we might possibly get our ass whipped. That's how I want to feel.
Yeah. It's a pride thing.
That's the standard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And they're getting there. They are getting there. But week 1, I was like, oh, shit, we'd beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, you weren't. But you know what? You can tell that Nick Saban
and it's not about
getting to these guys.
No, that's right. But it's not about, again, if we lose a game, it doesn't bother me if we lose a game. It's how we lose a game.
Right.
That's
how I feel too.
You know?
About
if
everything.
the other team leaves, if Ole Miss game, had they ended up somehow beating us, I mean, we wore them out on defense or their offense. We wore their offense out, made some plays on offense, but we physically pretty much dominated that game. That's what I want to see week in and week out. The team that's got that pride, that stands up, beats the shit out of whoever's in front of them. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, make them quit. I mean, that's what Alabama kind of was known for. I felt like the last 3 quarters of this team have been impressive. Like these guys have been playing physical football. Like the quarterback play's gotten a lot better, playing smart. The running backs are tough. The offensive line could be a lot better pass blocking, but run blocking, they are moving the ball. They're opening up holes. Mm-hmm. The running backs are getting better at waiting on the holes and running through them.
Well, Jalen Milroe to me is the one that, I think he is pretty damn talented. Last week, some of the stuff he was doing, and I'm not going to Bryce Young links here, and I know I said this earlier this week.
It's like me talking about Deion, go there.
Yeah. But the guy was accurate. He was throwing the ball. He was moving in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, bringing those backers up, throwing over their heads. Doing everything he needed to do as a quarterback to be as efficient as possible. And I was impressed. I think if he plays the way he did last week, we're going to be really, really hard to beat.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Hey, don't forget the show's brought to you by Lance's Lock. As you make your picks, Lance, best in the business at helping with the picks. He's killing it in the NFL and college football. Lance'sLock.com. And I know, Jake, you're looking at me. I need all the help I can get. But this is the first true full week, though. I haven't had baseball, so I've had a little bit more time to, to study these lines, watch these games. So Saturday's like nothing better though than having all the TVs up, watching all the games, man.
Yeah,
absolutely love that.
Yeah, since you a bit, I had my daughter play on the slide,
water
slide outside, and had the outdoor TV set up. Model Saturday afternoon right there.
Yeah,
all my games were covering, as you know, right? I got some backup.
Doing well. You were doing well. Does anybody need one? Here, give me that right there. You just keep talking, Jake.
Yeah, I'll take a light one if you got
it. It's the timeout in the show. We just did 30 hard minutes of talk. So we're not done yet. But
that's right.
It's the halftime show right here.
Or not the light one. All right.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll give you half.
That'll work. Yeah, that'll work.
And then I'll throw one of those. I've got a seltzer in there for you. I'm gonna have
put some duct tape over that one.
I'm gonna have to stock. I'm gonna have to stock some of those. The light ones go fast though.
You
know how that is. All right. So besides Alabama and Texas A&M, and I guess at the end of it, we'll kind of go back and give our picks on the game or whatever. But what are some of the other games that you guys are looking forward to this week?
Oklahoma, Texas. I'm liking Oklahoma. 6.5 point dog. Makes no sense. I would never pick Oklahoma as a 6.5 point dog, and that's why I'm taking them this weekend.
So crazy to think that way.
No.
But that's the Vegas way, right?
Yeah. Pick how think about how Mick Gillispie would pick a game
and go the opposite.
And pick the opposite.
I'm not arguing.
I'm gonna try that shit this week, man.
I'm not even arguing.
No, give me your picks. I'm gonna do the opposite.
Yeah.
But don't change.
Because I would take Texas. I'm telling you right now, Ryan, I would take Texas. I just would. Okay. What do you think, though? You're just going to go against me.
That's the key.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad last week as it's been. I got a little closer to being back on track again.
I'll say this, too. Georgia, 14.5 point dog. The world's on Kentucky. I'm taking Georgia.
Uh-oh.
Georgia.
I hate taking a favorite by that much, but when it's that crazy. Who would think Georgia was going to win by 14.5 points?
Well, I got some bad news. I do. I'm taking all Georgia all day on that game.
And I think it's a game too that Kirby gonna have them ready to play with all the Kentucky talk. They gonna come in that game up, but I don't know.
Mine's in a blender.
I don't know. But Jack, I'm gonna say this too. They got one player. I watched them when they got in the clutch against the other. They went to 19 every time.
That's what I was. I was like,
they double them or nothing. So
how did of all the guys, that's the one guy you don't let catch the ball.
Yeah,
I don't
Brock
care
Bauer.
what you have to do.
And I think Kentucky gonna come in on that. So they may not. They may not cover that 14.
I mean, if Georgia's going to beat me, Brock Bowers, you can beat me with somebody else. You're not going to beat me with that guy.
Yeah, it was terrible.
He was wide open. No bracket, nothing.
It was like you guys won't remember, but it was like watching Freddie throw it to Dennis Riddle in that Iron Bowl in '96. Like every single play at that game-winning drive, back Dennis Riddle out of the backfield.
Oh, yeah. They
just wouldn't cover it, and he kept going to it, and we won.
Well, again, like I told you Monday, when I saw Peyton Thorne break that 70-yard run, and he's looking over his shoulder, not a man around him, he steps out of bounds. I was like, oh, there's these soft-ass booger ball right here.
What?
Come on now. These guys don't have it.
Yeah. I just look at it like they got the scare by Auburn. They could have lost that football game. They're going to be a lot more motivated and feel – plus it's at home. And then the other thing is, like, I know Kentucky's off to a good start, but they've had good starts before.
Yeah.
Then the minute that you start believing in them, they let you down.
What they say, Mick, my granddad used to say, I have a patch on your ass, you're shitting in my hand. Just slap you across your neck.
I'm going to use that a few times this week.
You know,
a wise granddad.
I love Mark Stoops. He was the DC at Florida State when I was there.
He's a great coach.
Good coach.
He was awesome. And so I used to run scout team when I was a freshman at Florida State, and he used to give me so much shit. I mean, so we had these cards. Every time you had to look at this card, and they had the receiver you'd circle. They'd circle the receiver you need to throw to, so that, they'd see the look. They know where the ball's going. Well, sometimes I'd get back there, I'd catch the snap, and I'd throw it to somebody else and, get a first down or a touchdown or something like that. And he'd lose his mind. He's like, yeah, Medford, who do you think you are? Johnny effing Unitas?
That is awesome. That's my dad's favorite player.
He'd come up with all kinds of Joe Namath.
Yeah. Flat tops.
I mean, a great dude, great guy.
Hard-nosed cat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hard-nosed, but could joke around with his player. He kept that. The best coaches who balance that, they can just get on your ass and you respect the hell out of them, but then joke around with you. That's Mark Stoops. He's the man. He's great.
I wonder if they could do this. I mean, I wonder if could Kentucky really go in there and beat them? I mean, and their
Georgia
streak.
home?
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd
be tough. It'd be tough. They could do it. I think they could do it, but it'd be a 1 in 100 games. I mean, yeah,
right. It'd have to go everything. They'd have to have the same officials Tennessee had when Alabama was there. Last Then they could happen.
Take a lot more flags.
And then
instead of 17, 30 flags.
That's right.
What is going on here? That's an interesting one too. How about your guy?
LSU, Missouri. I want to know your thoughts on that.
I like Missouri.
See, I'm not even giving it. I don't know that one.
All right.
I was going to say Ole Miss and Arkansas, but I would take LSU. What's the spread though?
6.5.
6.5. Yeah, I'd take LSU. They're not going to lose back-to-back weeks.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know Missouri's had it's been a Cinderella story. No chance. Can you imagine what life would be like in Baton Rouge if they lost to Missouri?
I want to see.
Yeah.
I like Missouri. I have no respect for LSU or that coach. I just don't trust. I don't like him. I don't think they're gonna win.
Will be one I'll be watching.
No.
Oh yeah, I think that's an early kickoff game.
Yeah, I
too.
love all of them, and I mean, you guys walk right by the football spot.
So Ole Miss, Arkansas, who you taking?
This was a tough one. This is a really tough one, but I'm going with Ole Miss.
That line I think is 11.5, 10.5.
Because I think if Lane has the opportunity to win this game and beat that line, I think he'll try to do it.
Yeah.
I think he will. And honestly, I was shocked that they played that well against LSU. They had over 700 yards. And against Alabama, yeah, they can. I think what happened, guys, is that you're looking at that Alabama defense and you're saying, hey, how come they only got one running touchdown with their quarterback against Alabama? And then they got, 700 yards against LSU. Because Alabama's secondary, I think, is that good. No, I think you're going to look back on the secondary and be like, man, this was the year Alabama had that secondary where all these guys are in the NFL and they're great players. And you're like, man, they were really good.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of a coaching thing, though. Like, Lane usually do that. Like, he'll go beat somebody and then the next week.
He's a letdown guy. You're right. You're exactly right.
So that's more so what I'm on, like, just historically how he do, so.
He celebrated that win a little bit too much.
Yeah, and then it's now his team. We just did this last week. How can he get that team to respond? That's more so what I'm on.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a drop off, and they play this week. And I don't like them to lose though, but I don't think they cover.
That's what I think the same exact way. But with that line, I mean, Arkansas, they've lost a bunch of close games. Now they got beat by A&M by I think 14 points last week or whatever it was, but it wasn't a blowout, Arkansas is pretty good. They hadn't won an SEC game yet. It's about that time.
Mm-hmm.
And Ole Miss coming off a big win.
But isn't it? It's an Ole Miss. And that, look, they got great crowd there, and it's a tough place to play. They got playmakers all over the field. They got the better quarterback. I mean, Jefferson's all right too, but I mean, Jackson Dart's a good quarterback.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's all about pressure in the quarterback. If you like last week, LSU never got enough pressure on him to cause him to make a mistake, and then once he got in a rhythm, they couldn't stop him.
Oh yeah, no, it's affecting the quarterback 100%.
Yeah, when he
comes down,
he was getting tired of seeing Dallas in his face the whole game.
Yeah,
and then if it wasn't him, it was somebody else. He just never got comfortable back there. He never got a chance to get his feet set, and then against LSU, they didn't do anything on defense. There was no pass rush.
I agree, but KJ Jefferson has not had that game yet where he's had the comfort of saying, "Oh man, I got time. I can finally throw the ball."
And that may be it too.
I mean, LSU, he was able to make some plays. LSU's not that good on defense. Hell, they almost beat him. I mean, if he's got some time and given that ability to make a few runs and has time to throw the ball, Arkansas can be dangerous. It's just, can you make him comfortable?
Yeah. What? Any other games?
What about Notre Dame and Louisville?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Sam Hartman's a classy guy, and I loved seeing him.
4th and 16 was awesome.
I love seeing him go check on Leonard after he got hurt after the Duke game. Did you see that? He ran over to the tent and waited on him to come out of the tent after the game and on the crutches. And he's a Pirate. My son's a Pirate, the Fairhope Pirate. And Leonard's had a great season too. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the best, truly best teams Duke's had since Steve Spurrier was coaching them a long time ago. I mean, this is a legitimately good football team. And I think Duke would have beat them if he hadn't gotten hurt. But I just thought that was awesome.
Is he out for the season or what's going on?
I don't know if he's out for the season.
Man, Leonard, I love that guy.
He can play.
I mean, oh yeah. Did you see that interview with McAfee? He's talking about all his teammates put their body on the line. So why would I not?
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of guy I want. Leading my team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He seems like just a humble guy.
Yeah.
He's just one of the boys, enjoys playing. And he's just there to play football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of guy you want.
That's what kind of quarterback you're going to get out of South Alabama over here.
L.A. He's the L.A. quarterback.
I'm telling you. Blue collar, hard.
Yeah.
Drop that bucket beam on you. They can run you over now.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. You're the quarterback, run that ball like Bill Dotree. You all right. We got a shot, man. I'm telling you.
I think about that like every time we're doing the show, like now I've gone back over like some of your guys' games in my head, because it's been a minute, but like the Tennessee game was one of my favorite games ever. My best friend from home, that was the first time we ever went to a game together. I did stand in line to try to get a little bit of Diet Coke for my bourbon through the whole Derrick Henry third quarter. But that was a great game. And that was a game where he ran over somebody,
Texas A&M, he ran a dude over too.
Yeah.
And the defense went crazy. Like that, when he did, it was like a turning point. Like, I don't know what a game, but like I just know the energy after that happened. I remember like John, Eddie were like running over there. I was like, that motherfucker crazy. What? Like, crazy. I'm like, I'm so they just fed off of it.
Yeah.
It was one of them moments like, all right, we got a shot.
Yeah.
We got a shot with this dude. He jumped up going crazy. His face was red. I thought he was going to pass out. So, yeah.
Well, the thing is, to me, it's like, when I could have broke every bone in my body. If I could have played, I would have played because I loved y'all. I loved Alabama. It was, it was the coolest thing to be able to play for Alabama for a bunch of guys you loved playing with. It was, again, I wish everybody could live something like I lived, being able to do that. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And there's not a day goes by that at some point it doesn't cross my mind how much fun that was. And again, it was a lot of my college career was not that fun. A lot of it was backup time and a lot of times where I had to talk myself into, man, we gotta, keep working.
Right.
You're gonna get there. But man, to finally get that year where you're playing with a bunch of dudes that love playing and love each other, and everybody's just putting everything out on the line that you don't care about your body, man. That is the best team you can be on.
And you guys won the championship.
Yeah.
Oh,
for the rest of your life, you're a champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm not. I wasn't the most talented quarterback at all. We had guys like Ryan, guys like Derek. All world players, and it was just cool that everybody was so unselfish. That's what made that team so much fun.
But how cool is it being a champion?
It was awesome. Like you say, it was. I feel like it was more so the way we did it that year. Like, that group together. That was the one for me too. Like that's the team. Like that's the one I'm gonna tell my kids about and their kids.
Like literally, nobody gave a shit about who was making the play.
Right.
That was. You wanted to make the play, but if the next guy made the play, man, it was. It was like you scored a touchdown if Derek scored a touchdown or Darius scored a touchdown or Calvin. Whoever made the sack, everybody was, excited. Now they might get in a fight over who's better on the plane ride back.
Yeah.
I've heard about this. Yeah.
I'm telling you, that team right there with Jake that year with Coke. I'm telling you, I was Jake Coke. I'm still a Jake Coke fan.
Yeah.
I ain't played with too many guys like that. But Coke had a parody account. I followed it till it was. That's how much I loved it, man. I just had watching, man. I just like scrolling to see it every now and then.
Coke deep ball. That's
Coke deep ball.
Oh my God.
I'm in the Grand Canyon. I just seen a Wilson. Coke throwing them Alabama to the Grand Canyon.
We can read off through those tweets. You would laugh.
So I gotta see this.
Oh my God! Well, this guy, I don't know who he is. I'd love to meet him.
Let's have him on the podcast.
Because the shit that he came up with. Yeah. This guy is obviously intelligent. Like there was some depth to these jokes, and it was hilarious.
The thing I got to ask you, and then we're gonna before we get off the show, I'm going to ask him the same question I asked you last time, but Max Johnson, they told him not to take a lot of contact. They're afraid that if he got hurt, they don't have somebody with experience behind him. A quarterback like you, how would you deal with that if they said, "Hey, we don't want you taking contact"?
I don't know. It'd be tough. I think you play a game a certain way, and when you're in the middle of the moment, I mean, how do you make that decision?
Right.
I will say this: I had one moment in the Iron Bowl where I thought about that because I separated my shoulder against LSU, and I was getting shot up before every game, and I was like, man, I got to take it easy on this right shoulder. And there was a play against Auburn where I ran for like 5 or 6 yards. Somebody had me wrapped up, kind of tied up, and then another guy came in and hit me, and I just kind of went down. And I heard that Auburn crowd go, ooh. And I was like, these sons of bitches. I was like, that guy didn't even hit me home. I mean, I was like, this shit. You know, I was pissed. And from then on, and from then on, I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm trying to run the train on these.
Whatever happened. I'm coming.
You know, And so from then on, it was like, please hit me. Try to hit me.
Yeah.
It was like, you know. So I mean, it's
he fed in.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the only time I ever did that, and when I did hear that, it pissed me off so bad. That was so
they thought that.
Thanks, Auburn.
Yeah, thanks, Auburn.
Bunch of bugs.
I'm telling you right now, if Auburn wouldn't have heckled, Wendell Hudson told me this. If they wouldn't have heckled Mal so much, we wouldn't have Nick Saban. It was all their shit talk.
That's right.
He's walking out of the stadium and they're just giving it to him. Part of this whole thing. And it was before the thumb, but it was in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Hey, that redheaded stepchild, they keep running their mouth, they're gonna get a spanking. That's what they are.
I always see him looming around too. I saw him play that game against Georgia on Saturday, and I thought this is good because they'll be overconfident when Alabama comes in there and beats them at the end of the season.
Well, the problem with Jordan Hare, I mean, there's a I don't know. I watched Iron Bowls all my life. And you watch those games, and whenever they play in Jordan Hare, it's like it's the luckiest team.
Auburn
the
Jesus.
Luckiest team in that stadium. It's crazy. And I remember when we were playing. Remember in 2015, Jason Smith.
Yes,
he knocks that ball up and catches it. And I remember sitting next to Kenyon, and me and him looked at each other like, only in Auburn.
Yeah,
I mean.
Right.
It was like, there's something that goes on in that stadium. I don't know what it is, but they become the luckiest team during Iron Bowl week every year in that stadium.
Got some of that New Orleans voodoo on that field, man.
Yeah, something. It really is crazy.
It's kind of like there was a voodoo. I remember late 2000s, early 2010s. Sugar Bowl was kind of we felt the same way about the Sugar Bowl. It's like. Just weird stuff happens in the Superdome for Alabama.
I know.
That's changed lately.
Thank God. I was down there when we lost to Utah. And they were all nice until they beat us. And then they were just talking all
funny how that works.
Yeah, I was like, man, I got to get out of here. They were nice on, the other day, like, hey, good to see you guys.
I want you to take it easy on.
Take it easy on. Right. Barron's claim to fame was scooping up one of those kicks and running with it. I want to say Mike got hurt. I think Smith got suspended, and then Mike got hurt, and then it was like nobody on that side of the offensive line they had after that point. This is going back a ways, but I think that's what happened, and then after that we just couldn't block them.
Well, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, when you're at Alabama, you're there to win national championships. If you don't make it to a national championship, especially in that era, right when we were kind of getting in that groove. I mean, again, I guess my last 3 years of college football, we always had a chance to win a national championship. But prior to that, I mean, if you weren't playing for a national championship, it was kind of tough to get excited and inspired for a game because. I mean, you weren't one of those top 4 teams.
Yeah.
Top 2, top 4. I know we went to the playoff in 2013 when we played Ohio State, but it's tough when you know you're not one of the best teams to get absolutely 100% laser focus for a game.
Right.
And I don't care what anybody says. You can try as hard as you want to, but when you're not playing the best and you think you're the best, It's tough.
Yeah.
And then being in Alabama, like you get used to that. So you definitely spoil. So like when that shit don't happen, like you ain't like, man,
Yeah.
what I'm supposed to do right now?
Yeah.
What I'm supposed to do?
Yeah.
Take a walk around a quad SEC championship being played.
Man, I was
you walk around the quad with your head, your leg,
hey,
you're like, oh god.
The thing is that you guys are. I'm not going to say you're too young to remember this, but you might be. I remember when we weren't very good, and we thought we were winning the championship every damn year. Andrew Bone was telling me about this the other day when Shula was coaching, and we would win like 4 or 5 games. We came into the season. He's like, I thought we were going to win every game. Since I got to Alabama, that's just the mentality that Alabama has. Is that you're there to win a national championship.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't until Saban got there that it actually happened like that, But we thought like, hey, this is our year. And then, you're in the Shreveport Bowl. You're down the Shreveport. I went to the Shreveport Bowl 3 times in my life.
Oh,
yeah, all 3 of them that I was around for.
You're better than me.
Yeah. I had a good time all 3 times.
They got a casino down there.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Vanderbilt and Army.
Yeah. Army's down there a lot. Yeah. But that's just the mentality at Alabama. But Saban has what he's been able to do really is amazing. I would love to see him go out on top,
I would too. Again, I and Ryan will say the same. Coach Saban may get on people's asses, but there is a soft, funny side to him that is so endearing that, if you play hard for the guy and you earn his respect, it's there's something about him that can't really be explained unless you play for him. He's kind of like that grandfather who kind of gets pissed if you don't cut his lawn the right way, but he still loves you.
Yeah, I had one like that. Yeah, no, it was how I cleaned the lawnmower. It had to be done a certain way too.
Oh yeah, but you do anything for him. You love him to death. That's Coach Saban.
Yeah.
And so, you just hope. I think all former players just hope that he ends it the right way, and hopefully that's a lot of years from now, or a lot.
Oh yeah, I hope he doesn't go anywhere.
But
that would be terrible.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk scores of this game. What do you guys think?
Alabama 27-24, 31-28, something like that.
Okay, so they're going to cover.
Yeah.
What's the line?
Now it's 1.
Oh yeah, we're gonna cover it. Oh, why did you
it was 2.5.
And by the way, I haven't heard anything, but I don't know. There's a lot of rumors going around that Jalen's not playing. If Jalen plays, we cover this weekend. But
that's probably what Vegas dropped it for them. They know something.
Yeah. So if he doesn't play, I'm out. But if he plays, I think we cover.
Yeah,
35-17.
If Jalen plays,
either way,
I like where
we
you're
score
going
one
here.
on defense again, and we just keep building like that. 35-17.
Man, I hope that look, Brian, if you run the ball, all you got to do is throw it 10 times, 12 times, and you just run it the rest of the time, I'm fine with that. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I've been paying close attention to this Vegas thing, though. That's the reporter in me.
I haven't heard a word. So,
I had Kenny White on one of my other shows from Vegas, and they think that Milroe's not playing, but I haven't heard that.
I saw him roll out of bounds, kind of weird at the Mississippi State game, kind of like one of those separated shoulder type deals. That's what it looked like to me. And I thought he was hurt, but he came back in and played.
He finished the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Problem with Jalen though is a lot of his productivity comes from running the ball, and running the ball after 1 week of, after having a separated shoulder the week before and getting shot up, you don't feel much, but you can still feel that grind in your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happened to me against LSU. We played Mississippi State the week after. I mean, I was winging the ball out there, even though I couldn't feel much. It was a weird feeling,
Mm-hmm.
And you could only you couldn't throw it with touch. You kind of winged it out there with your elbow, if that makes any sense.
Right.
But, you definitely aren't playing the way that you usually play. And especially the way he runs the ball, the way he is so effective running the ball. it's going to be tough taking shots the way he's going to have to move the ball down the field. So if he does have that separated shoulder, we'll see. I know there was an epidemic. AJ had it, Blake had it, I had it, everybody had
Looked
it.
like Bryce had it a little bit last year, too.
Yeah, he had it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
I like 15 too, though. So this team playing defense, he confident. I like that kid.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Shit, he gonna have to play. He got to play.
You got to be ready to
He got
go.
to be ready, and I like his confidence too.
Yeah.
I think if you're just sitting in the pocket making reads and throwing the ball, I love 15. Problem is if we can't keep a clean pocket and we can't run the ball,
Trouble.
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. All right. That's about it for the show, man. It was fun. That hour went by fast.
Enjoyed it as always.
That's been an hour.
That's been an hour. Do you guys want to go? You want me to ask you one more topic? You want me to ask?
Let's go ahead.
All right, well, we'll do
Give me
one more.
nigga. That
Okay.
was fast.
This has nothing to do with football, Ryan. I asked him last week if he's been following Tupac's Killer. Have you watched any of that?
No, a lot of people saying it was me.
Yeah.
They found the real dude. They said it was some dude in Orlando.
Yeah. So you have been watching.
Yeah. So they found a dude that really killed it.
Yeah. Well, he was in the car, and he's been on documentaries. I got into this kick like 4 or 5 years ago where I had to figure out what happened with him and Tupac. I don't know why. I mean, him and Biggie. I just wanted to know. And this guy did a documentary, and he was in the car, and they basically said that his cousin got into a fight with Tupac. It got jumped by Tupac's people, right? Suge Knight and those guys after a Tyson fight. And then they were kind of driving down the strip, and they saw him, and then they basically just followed him and shot him, and then went and parked in a garage and walked right across in front of him and went back into a casino or something, and they never found him. But that guy did the documentary, and then now that they use that to arrest him. But there could be a connection with, and that this is what they're saying. There could be a connection with Puffy Combs.
Oof.
Now, would that be something?
That'd be crazy.
Wasn't he in the car with him?
He wasn't Puffy wasn't in a car with him or anything. But I mean, it's just so intriguing to me.
Yeah.
You're talking about one of the greatest performers of our time.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
No, one of the most successful.
Yeah.
By far.
We still play his music. It still sounds good, all these years later.
Yeah.
Timeless music. It was.
Yeah, timeless, right? I mean, it's like the legends, are like that. Like their stuff just really doesn't get old. You know?
Well, they need to lock his ass up, nigga. He wrote a documentary about it and said he did. They need to lock him up.
Yeah.
He doing all that.
It's going to be interesting to see kind of how it plays out, though. Like with the police. I mean, how come it took so long?
Right.
It seemed like it took a long time. The guy was on documentaries like 4 years ago.
I mean, the technology now a lot crazier too. I mean, back then, it was more like people was getting away with a lot of stuff like that, due to the lack of technology. And stuff, so.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. I mean, like the days of getting away with stuff are over.
Oh, it's over.
Because I mean, if they want you, they find you.
You're filmed now.
Everything.
For the majority of your lifetime at this point.
Yeah.
Unless you're out in the boondocks, you ain't got a chance.
Yeah, but somebody's got a camera on their stuff. It might be just you walking by. They're gonna get you. It's crazy how the guy, the serial killing guy in Idaho, it took them about calling the FBI in, but the FBI came in and they found that guy.
Oh yeah.
You remember the guy that killed the kids at the college?
My wife is.
Mine too. God. But I mean, we had to sit there and watch that. But you know what? I was like, there's no chance that the guy's getting away with this.
Oh no.
Not these days.
He's Googling, everything that has to do with murdering someone the way that he murdered them. But right. I've seen about 6 documentaries, all of them saying the same shit because my wife just, is obsessed with all of them. So yeah. We watch them and now I got to lock the doors and turn the alarm on. And right. Yeah, I'm from Baltimore, so I do that anyway.
It's rough out there, man.
It is. You know what I'm talking about.
It's rough out there.
Yeah.
When I got drafted that way, I went down to my agent from there.
Yeah.
You talking about rough?
That's right. Yeah.
It's rough down there. I took a wrong turn. He's like, hey, don't park.
Yeah. No.
Don't park there.
It's bad when you need a spotter.
Yeah. The truth is, like I told you, my best friend went to the game with you. You know, your game, the Tennessee game that year.
Yeah.
He was in prison for 11 years. See, that was the first time I ever got a chance to go to a football game with him. He's a huge Alabama fan, but where I'm from, a lot of people end up there. You know, it's just a different world, you know, being in Baltimore than it is living here. Although it's everywhere, man. Like it's not. I mean, there's pockets of that everywhere. You know?
Man, you grew up around. You grew up around certain behaviors. It's hard to escape that.
Right.
You know?
Really smart guy. He looks like Jelly Roll. Every time I see Jelly Roll, I'm like, hey, at least if I explained what Brian's like, I was like, well, Jelly Roll, you know. Smart guy, made bad decisions. But you know, it's one of those things. Like I do lock the door. I'm always like this, you know.
Well, me too. Yeah, I'm paranoid too.
Before that show came out. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. I can stop getting all them jokes, the Orlando Anderson jokes.
Did they say, do you look like him?
That's
Orlando is his.
That's my first name.
Oh, okay.
I was the guy that suspected this whole time. So people hit me. So that's what I get.
Oh man, see, that was the unintended consequence.
Yeah,
but I love what just happened.
I'm saying, I've been taking a lot of that, Mick.
Yeah.
I love Tupac.
That's a Manscaped.
People have been looking at you.
Manscaped's going to send him a few razors, let him disguise himself.
I can clean it up. Clean it up.
The wrong Orlando.
If you're escaping a conviction, call Manscaped.
I'm telling you. I like it, Jake.
For those of you that stayed to the end, look at this, the gem that we just gave you. I didn't want to laugh this hard because now I'm going to hurt again tomorrow, but that is so funny, man. God, that is so funny.
Man.
All right. Well, this was fun. Let's do it. We reconvene on Monday, guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'll try to get some lighter beer in here. For everybody. Hey, don't forget the show's brought to you by MyBookie and Lance's Lock. We appreciate all of you guys. And this was Elephant in the Room, part of Roll Tide Pods, Disrupt the Media for Ryan Anderson and Jake Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.